Welcome, everybody, to Real Estate Matters. For over 10 years, the voice of real estate in Flagler County and Palm Coast, Florida. I'm Toby Tobin. I'm the publisher of GoToby.com. I contribute to the Palm Coast Observer. I'm a Florida licensed realtor with Landmark Group at Compass. Co-host Anna Maria is back in the studio. Welcome back, Anna Maria.
Thank you.
Glad you're feeling better. We have a guest also, Tony Amaral Jr. of Amaral Homes and Pools. He's in the home construction and has a real estate office, real estate license, and you do property management too. You're kind of a...
Yes. If it has to do with a house, I think I have it covered by now.
Okay, so if you want to... So you have more than one target on your back.
I do.
You're not just a realtor.
No.
Nobody likes you.
You're a developer.
I'm the evil fill in the blank.
Well, good to have you
Sounds
here.
like a good comic.
Tony.
Thank you.
We'll get to you. We're going to talk about impact fees today. That's a hot topic locally. But before we do that, we'll just go over some local numbers. We're getting to the end of the month. So we can't do end of month numbers because they're not all in. But first, let's do our listing of the week. This week's listing is a rare commercial gem on the coast. It's right on A1A in Hammock Beach, introducing 2299 North Ocean Shore Boulevard. It's a prime commercial property on a double lot located directly on A1A with incredible exposure, just steps from the ocean.
Can you tell us what someone might know it as?
The car wash.
Ah.
Okay.
Okay, and this is a fantastic opportunity for developers, investors, or business owners looking to create something special in one of Flagler's most visible and desirable locations. Whether you're envisioning a retail storefront, office space, or mixed-use project, the possibilities are wide open. This sounds like it was written by artificial intelligence.
Hey, don't discount my friend Chat.
Well, all of my intelligence is artificial.
I thought that was just your knees.
Okay, so zoned for commercial use and surrounded by high-traffic beachgoers and locals alike, this property offers both flexibility and future growth potential. And this is in the Landmark Group Compass office, one of their listings. And it has its own website, the listing does. It's www.2299a1a.com. So it's the address.com, 2299a1a.com. And you can certainly call me at 386-931-7124. Thank you to our sponsors, Flagler County Home Builders Association, Klein Construction, and Hammock Community Church. So let's get to current numbers as of about an hour ago, and we're recording this on Thursday afternoon at 3:30, so as of probably 2:30 today, 206 single-family homes had been reported sold and closed through the Flagler County MLS system. So 206, we're not at the end of the month yet. Last year, same month, 279 homes were sold. The median price month to date, $362,495. A year ago it was $379, so we're off a little bit. Market's a little soft, but that's kind of within a typical up and down range month to month. It's not anything to be nervous about. The number of active days on market for those homes, those 206 homes, was 63 days. That's higher, probably 25% higher than it was a year ago. We do have more inventory available. Homes under 250,000, 7 sold. Days on market was 49, so that's less than the 63 overall days on market.
That 7 is higher than we had last month.
Yeah, last month I think we had 3 or 4.
Yeah.
And the $1 million plus homes, 15 have closed. and the days on market 45, so that's even less than the less expensive homes. And we talked about that a little bit last week, how that's an inverse.
Yeah, it's an anomaly here.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And following the trend that we've seen for quite a while, most of those were cash. 12 of the 14 million plus homes were cash.
Wild.
Yeah.
As of today, Palm Coast had issued 88 single-family permits, but that's compared to 179
Much lower.
a year ago. And coincidentally, or not, they've got 88 applications for permits, so it happens to be equal.
Guess everyone got their paperwork together correctly.
Well, maybe there's still some that are waiting to be picked up.
Potentially.
It's just a coincidence. So the market remains soft. National home prices have risen by 4%, recently reported, and locally we've been basically flat. So we're not following the national trends. And those around us on social media, for instance, that talk about, we're being inundated, we're getting overgrown, rampant, uncontrollable growth, don't know what they're talking about.
That's correct.
Just like to make a point there. Pierre Tristram had an article by Brad West, longtime local resident. Brad's a smart guy. And he was talking about Palm Coast doing really better than they get credit for.
Yeah.
In a lot of areas. It was a well-written article, and I respect Brad. And he caused a lot of responses to be submitted,
Little
comments.
ruckus.
And I
It's
noticed,
always okay to cause good trouble.
no, well, that's good for him. He stirred the pot. But the one thing that I found most noticeable, the differences between Brad and the people that commented on his article. Brad used his whole name.
And you mean his real name in general?
Yeah, exactly. Everybody else
Username 5234679.
Yeah. Everybody else was
Anonymous user 12345.
Everyone else was anonymous. Well, some of them are repeats. They're there on almost every article, but you don't know really who they are.
When we actually look back at projections from just 5 years ago, we have found that we are exactly on track, even though 5 years ago puts us at 2020, and the math for this would have been done in 2019. We saw in 2021 a completely unpredicted jump in people coming to Florida and to Palm Coast. So even with that complete anomaly, we are exactly on track for what was predicted.
It's coincidental. I didn't share this with you yet, but yesterday I went back and I looked at January, the price peak before the big crash, 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Yes.
The price peak, the high point locally was January 2005. 2006, I'm sorry. January 2006. And if you apply the dollar value, today's dollars versus those dollars, we're right on track.
Interesting.
Yeah, today's numbers are just basically right on track, right where you'd expect to be.
When we look at the population growth and we compare it today to the 2004 to 2006 time, we had a much higher influx of people back in 20 years ago than we do now.
But then it balanced for several years. We were below average.
I can't even say it balanced. I mean, we had a recession. It completely dipped. But yeah, overall, in totality, it balanced, sure.
So we've got another topic to talk about today, impact fees. I opted out, but I know you were at the meeting.
We were.
And it was a 6 or 7 hour extended work.
It went from 9 to 5. We made it till 3.
Yeah, somewhere around
3.
2:30.
We didn't know we should have packed a lunch, so we had to go eat at some point. So we caught up on the rest after.
I would have had to have brought my insulin.
You would have, yes. You always pack your insulin for any council meeting.
The way they go lately, yes, that would be a smart move to do.
Absolutely.
Okay,
it was a good meeting, though.
Impact fees are like second nature to me because I've been writing and talking about them for 20 years. But they're not to everybody else. So let's get quick background. What are impact fees? What's the rationale behind them? And then we'll get into are those justified rationales or not? And what are some of the peripheral damages that are caused by impact fees that people don't think about that affect them? Definitely affect them. So which one of you wants to take that question?
Impact fees are, everyone stares at Maria. Impact fees are a fee that is paid by the new user coming into an area, so the new resident, except that's not always a new resident.
No, actually, I mean, to the letter of the word, the user doesn't pay it directly. The builder pays. The
builder makes the payment.
Makes the payment upon issuance of a building permit.
Building permit.
In other words, you can't put a thing, anything in the ground until you paid your impact fees.
Unless the local municipality, the local municipality does have the option to allow or to make the payment for an impact fee due at CO. Mm-hmm. So that is an option that some municipalities do.
For those of you, CO means certificate of occupancy. It means
before you get the keys.
Yeah, before you get the keys.
And the okay to have someone move in. So, yes, while the builder actually writes that first check, makes that payment, the dollars are absolutely passed on to the user, the new resident.
They're part of the price of the house because
absolutely.
That's part of the cost of construction.
Yeah, and then it's also part of the appraisal value of the home, too. And when we say new resident, that's really a false term because the new resident's not always new to our community. For example, I have a very close friend of mine who grew up here, and she, in the past 10 years, has built 3 homes, and so she's paid impact fees 3 times in the city of Palm Coast. So really, really hope she's driving on our roads a lot and using every single park and all of the things because she's paid impact fees 3 times. And then if you move into a home that is already existing, you don't pay any impact fees if it was built before we were a city and we didn't have it, or before the impact fees came about. So the impact fee is used to essentially mitigate the cost that a new resident brings into the community. So and it can only be used for those things. So those things are expansion of capacity.
Yeah, the phrase they use all the time is
growth pays for growth.
New growth should pay for itself.
Right. So in those terms, for roads, impact fees can pay for a new road, whether that be an expansion from 4 lanes to 6 or a new turn lane. But it cannot pay for repaving a road that's in disrepair. For parks, they can pay for an expansion of capacity. So we can add a completely new park. We can add a field to an existing park.
Enlarge a parking lot.
You can enlarge a parking lot to expand the capacity of people who can use the park. But you cannot repair an existing field or an existing playground.
Ongoing maintenance.
Right. No ongoing maintenance or repair.
Capital expenditure.
Yeah. So then fire, another example, there's very specific items that they can pay for. They can pay for a new fire truck apparatus, and they can pay for certain things that go on the trucks, but they can't pay for a new employee. They can use it to build a new firehouse, but they can't pay for their uniforms, for example.
Okay, well, hold that thought. We've got to take a quick break. Don't go away, folks. We will be right back.
I am blown away.
More people are listening to local radio than ever before.
The amount of people that come up to me and ask me about my radio ad is staggering.
More people are listening to local radio in more ways than ever before.
At least one a day. I mean it.
More people, more advertising results. To advertise on the radio, call Flagler Broadcasting Vice President of Sales, Kirk Keller.
Kirk Keller? Hey, that's me. 386-986-9911.
flaglerbroadcasting.com.
Welcome back, everybody. This is the second half of Real Estate Matters. Thank you for staying with us or joining us if you're just doing that now. We're talking about impact fees today. We have Tony Emerald and Anna Maria Long, both experts on impact fees. They're used to making an impact wherever they go.
Aw, so sweet.
So, Anna Maria, you were talking about impact fees, kind of educating our audience so they can understand what they are. And the reason we're talking about them today is because there was a city council meeting or workshop this week, and it looks like the city is going to substantially increase impact fees in several categories.
There's one more important part about the impact fees to know, though. So when those increases to capacity are made, there are legacy costs or ongoing maintenance costs associated with those capacity increases, right? So if you expand the roads, we have to keep paying for them. And those dollars cannot come out of impact fees, as we just learned. So those will have to come out of tax dollars, future tax dollars. So if the new residents don't come, if the new growth doesn't happen, then we have a smaller tax base to pay from. And as you hope, as any regular listener knows, we have a very undiversified tax base, and our taxes are mostly paid by residential taxes, not commercial. And then the other part of impact fees is parks, for example. When we're using we're doing a new park, the current ratio is 47% of a new park has to be paid by current residents, and then 53% is paid by impact fees. So we say growth pays for growth, but that's not always the case because of the formula that the city uses and the way that it's calculated based on resident use and new resident use.
And all of these impact fee increases, because that's basically pretty much all they do is increase over time.
They rarely go down, if ever.
And the way they make it easier to swallow is they hire a consultant to come in and do a study and make recommendations. And trust me, no impact fee consultant has ever earned being hired again because they recommended a reduction.
That is, I believe
they
that is
never
true.
got rehired because they recommended a reduction. It's just we want to increase them. You come in and tell everybody why we have to increase them, and we'll pay you a bunch of money.
And all the way to the max.
Mm-hmm. Now, there are lots of things about impact fees that are kind of peripheral damage, and one of them is I'll debate your comment about only the new home buyer or new home builder pays the impact fees. Everybody does, because if you follow the real estate market, there's a structural difference between new home prices and existing home prices. Mm-hmm. New homes usually sell at a premium. I mean, market conditions can change that if there's suddenly a real shortage of homes. Existing homes become more valuable. But normally, existing homes, or whatever the number is, it doesn't matter, 95%, 90%, 98% of a comparable new home, that structural difference remains. So if you increase the cost of building a new home by $5,000, you increase the value of the neighbor home by $5,000.
To a degree. I was referring more to, for example, my first home was built in 1978. Mm-hmm. So no impact fees were ever paid on it. And its value was only ever going to go so high because it was built in 1978.
Well, but still,
it did increase, but not as much.
It will go up. No, not as much, but by that structural percentage difference between new and existing.
But that does bring to light the idea that's been floated prior in times before of, and I'm sure you remember this too, Tony, of instead of just having an impact fee, or instead of having an impact fee, to do a fee that is occurring at every home sale.
Oh, yeah. That was floated early 2000s when they first started coming up with the impact fees. And the discussion was simple. It was, well, you can't guarantee X amount of growth, but your resales tend to stay in a less error of a margin of error, I should say. So we did talk about that It was turned down. It was the National Association of Realtors was against it, and the local board went against it also. But that revenue stream would be more consistent. Markets
It
change.
would survive even pretty bad.
Even during the
situation.
downturn, the recession,
People still move.
houses still sold, albeit less money, but they still sold, and that would have been a revenue stream that still kept in at a smaller portion per house, but the volume would have made up for it.
Right.
And that revenue stream has also been talked about as a substitute for our property tax.
Oh, that's interesting with the other conversation going on at the state level.
Yeah.
Well,
I
that's
had
something for another day, I'm sure.
some years ago with Paul Renner about that. But impact fees, you're building, Tony, you're building a new community. You're developing, you're putting in
I'm a builder.
100 new homes. That's right. You're not a developer.
I am not a
You're a
developer.
builder. But let's say you were,
Yes.
because I have to talk to somebody.
No worries.
But you have to be, today we're all new construction basically, except for the infill lots, is you're creating a PUD or master plan development.
Correct.
Okay, it's specifically designed for that parcel. You have a development order that's created under which you are obligated to adhere. And some of the things that you do is you put in the water and sewer. You pay for it. Now, the city will let you, they have you convey that to them, and then they operate the water and sewer infrastructure going forward, but they charge the residents for it.
Correct.
Because the utility department is kind of pays for yourself.
It's usage based.
Yes, usage based. But you also put in sidewalks, you bury utilities, you put in street lights, you
The
put in a
roads.
stormwater management
And your
system,
own
you
parks.
Put in roads on your own parks, because you have, if you're going to have a gated community, you've got to have some reason to charge more for it. But you don't get any credit for that. The people that live in that community pay for their own, going forward, street maintenance, stormwater management maintenance, amenities maintenance, common area maintenance, and they don't get any credit off their tax bill at the city.
Or their impact fees.
Or and they pay the impact fees as
In fact,
well.
they'll be paying a higher impact fee in that new development than an infill lot.
Yeah, interesting. Well, we're running out of time, and
That was fast.
That was fast.
we should do this again.
Definitely.
It's definitely an interesting topic, and it's a controversial topic, and it should be.
And it is. I mean, it's a topic that at the end of the day, growth is coming. It will pay for itself. It's just a matter of...
It more than pays for
It
itself.
does more than... I mean, the taxes on a...
I'll argue that
on
all
a
day.
lot is a lot less than a home on that lot. And this is just the revenue. You're creating revenue. You're spending your tax dollars. You're paying the gas every time you fill up your tank. You're paying the sales tax every time you purchase something locally. They're paid, just not to the extent where we want this project today, so we want you to pay for it yesterday. And that's what an impact fee is we want you to pay today on a future project that may or may not actually come to fruition.
Yeah, look at
based
the
on
school.
funding.
Look at all the money the schools are collecting, and our
That's a perfect example.
student count is actually going down. My house, I paid $360 for it. I think my neighbor paid $365. I'm a long-term resident, so I had lots of save your home money, protected value. So my taxes were under $1,200. My neighbor, who wasn't homesteaded, same house, same floor plan, over $5,000 in taxes.
That's why we love our new Floridians.
That's why we love growth. So anyway, we've got to call it quits for today. I'm sorry we didn't get as far as I wanted to, but remember, we're videotaped now, so you can watch Real Estate Matters on YouTube. Go to the Flagler Beach TV YouTube, Facebook page, and that's probably the best place to get them. If you're thinking of buying a house or a commercial property that used to be a car wash, feel free to call me. You can reach me at 386-931-7124. Come again next week. I'm Tony Tobin. I approve this show.